Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Magick Witchcraft and Occultism. This is episode 12, part 5 on Dark Prophetic Dreams. This episode, or this part of this episode, does not have a very long prologue, so here's your cheat sheet, and let's roll the intro.
What is magic? Magic is the hidden knowledge of the ages, just waiting to be discovered by those of us willing to dedicate decades of our lives to unlocking these ancient secrets. Let the lessons begin.
Let us begin. Dark or false prophetic dreams. Now, up until this point, all the other supernatural entities I have mentioned that can bless an individual with a prophetic dream that I have gone over up until this point can generally be considered either good or neutral. When these different types or different kinds of beings give a prophetic dream, the source and the purpose of the prophetic dream is explicitly apparent and generally altruistic. If an outsider is either a malevolent ethereal entity that may or may not be named, that may include a demon or one of their lesser minions, or possibly even another malevolent spirit from the astral plane or astral realm of existence. But this is far less likely, as spirits from the astral plane do not normally possess enough power to create a false prophetic dream, but they do, however, normally develop the ability of dream telepathy, which can appear to be a prophetic dream depending on the age and stage the spirit is at. The outsider may or may not also obfuscate their appearance or hide their true presence and their exact identity from an individual in the prophetic dream. This applies to dark and false prophetic dreams, so this might be a good time to define the difference between a dark and a false prophetic dream. Another set of possibilities that is closer to the traditional prophetic dream, but under a different set of conditions, such as if a person is a practitioner and is participating in demonology and is taking part in the practice of demonolatry while actively worshiping a specific demon or set of demons, or another set of malevolent outsiders. Instead of these prophetic dreams being an accident of circumstances with the world seen but unseen, the practitioner could be hoping and trying to gain a prophetic dream on purpose from a vile infernal source. I suppose one man's garbage is another man's treasure. Now, if you remember what I said before about a prophetic dream, they're reserved for those who earnestly need them, those that are teetering on the very edge of either survival or belief in the faith. Not so with a dark prophetic dream from a malevolent force. These dark prophetic dreams are given to people for a whole host of different reasons. The one thing all these prophetic dreams have in common, they always benefit the outsider far more than the recipient. For those that do receive a dark prophetic dream, it is usually for a few different reasons. Dark prophetic dream. Now, a dark prophetic dream has more in common with a traditional prophetic dream than you might first think. It's called a dark prophetic dream because of the source in which the prophetic dream comes from. Now, that may appear to be a contradiction. As I said before, a prophetic dream is almost always a gift to a person from a higher power, regardless of how you, the individual, may personally define that. The key word there is almost, as there is always nearly an exception to the rule. Dark prophetic dreams occur normally for one of two reasons specifically. Either an ethereal entity may choose a person for one of several different reasons, which I will go over shortly. Next is a false prophetic dream. Now, a false prophetic dream occurs when an outsider is masquerading as a god, an angel, a saint, and gives a person a message or a mission that would go against the teachings of the individual's religion with some reasonable kind of justification. This could be used to tempt an individual away from their chosen alignment or ensnare them in a way that would be less likely for them to ask for help from their spiritual representative. This could be a priest, a rabbi, an imam, or another spiritual advisor from a religion a person may associate with. If a person that is receiving a prophetic dream from a higher power along this alignment is not normally considered to be good or benevolent. In this case, a person may be unaware of the exact source of the prophetic dream is coming from. There's an old adage in the Christian faith that exemplifies this point better than any other. When you're favored by God, you're also favored by the devil. Since Lucifer wants whatever God has, if you're favored by the Lord on high, Lucifer will want you that much more and work that much harder to take you from the Lord's light. These false prophetic dreams can sometimes be a precursor to possession. If a malevolent entity can turn you, the believer, away from your faith, maybe even turn you to their side, this is where the saying dark prophetic dream comes from in the first place. Now we move on to reasons why. Now, you may be wondering how and why would an outsider or a malevolent spirit take an interest in a mortal to give them a dark prophetic dream, or why they would take an interest in a mortal for any reason for that matter. A dark outsider or malevolent spirits may take interest in anyone for any number of different reasons. I will briefly name a few. This list will pertain to ethereal and astral entities in equal measure. Number 1. A normal mundane person may have taken a hike through their local woods and may have accidentally stumbled across a ritual site, and an outsider or a malevolent spirit may have taken the opportunity to attach themselves to the mundane without them knowing, or a mundane may have used a spirit board and accidentally invited a malevolent force into their life, and the mundane was ill prepared for the entity's presence, making the mundane an easy victim to prey on, and maybe experiencing a haunting that can be accompanied by a dark prophetic dream. Number 2. If a practitioner was using black magic and they may heavily invested in hexes and curses, or they may have tried some kind of ritual seeking greater knowledge, either way, this could have attracted the attention of a demon or one of their lesser minions, and they may have given the practitioner an ironic gift of dark prophetic dreams. Number 3. A common reason that is closely connected to the previous reason is instead of a practitioner, you may have a mundane attempting something they have little to no understanding of at all. This is usually because the mundane is desperate and they themselves or someone they love may be sick or hurt or on the edge of dying and are desperate to save either themselves or someone else, and is a foolishly willing to try to make a deal or a pact with forces far outside of their understanding and control. This is laughable, but at least the reason isn't self-serving. But regardless, I'm reminded of an old quote: "The road to hell is paved with good intentions." Albert Bernard. If a deal is struck, the outsider could give prophetic dreams to the individual, thereby giving them the knowledge and wisdom or insight to heal or cure whoever they love. Number 4. A person may be a classic narcissist that is self-absorbed with themselves and their own happiness and prosperity at the expense of everyone else around them, or they could be a run-of-the-mill psychopath that is violent with depraved indifference for others, and the natural vibration may attract an outsider to them naturally. This is just for the fun of torturing. They may give the person a dark prophetic dream of their life in the hereafter, showing them the misery that's waiting for them. Number 5. One of the most common reasons a person can receive a dark prophetic dream, they are usually a demonologist taking part in the practice of demonolatry. Demonolatry is the worship of demons and demonic forces and energies. If a demonologist tries to either summon, invoke, or evoke a dark outsider, and if the outsider arrives, this is assuming the ritual was done correctly and enough power was brought forth to enable the entity to communicate with the demonologist or the demonolatrist. They may or may not take the opportunity to try to barter a deal and make a pact with an outsider, usually for either power, wealth, love, knowledge, or generally another worldly concern. Generally, the reason is self-serving. If the deal is struck, the outsider could give a prophetic dream to be used to help teach and guide the information to the person on how to achieve whatever they wanted. Number 6. There's a reasonably rare but well-known phenomenon where a person may be chosen before, near, or at their birth. The exact reason is debated, but this phenomenon is referred to as a divine birth of Providence. The two most common philosophies that can reasonably coincide with each other are as follows. Either an individual was chosen as the stars aligned just right to create the right set of circumstances from a celestial point of view to dictate the alignment of a person as well as their direction in life. This is or lends itself to astrology in a more extreme way than would normally be used. The alignment of the stars in this case is a sign of an important birth that will take place and usher in a new age of either benevolence and enlightenment or malevolence and destruction. A powerful solar eclipse may also accompany such a birth. Another similar set of circumstances that is closer to reincarnation, as a soul may have been placed on the earthly plane for a specific purpose. You may say the soul was crafted, but these are only ideas. No one knows for sure. There are important figures in history, usually within the biblical record, that either of these philosophies can be true even at the same time. One might say both of these extremely rare sets of circumstances need to be in place to create a birth of Providence. Even if that's true, we're all born with free will, so even if you were chosen, you still have the ability to choose, even if the choice to serve a specific alignment, either benevolent or malevolent, even if the choice is skewed in one direction or another. Either way, as it relates to a dark prophetic dream in this scenario, where a person was chosen starting as young as an infant leading into their early childhood through adolescence and back into adulthood, they will receive dark prophetic dreams to help corrupt the mind and the spirit and the soul, to help bend them to their will. By slowly and subtly influencing their subconscious mind through these dark prophetic dreams, that can help to subtly influence a person through their unconscious actions in situations around them in their lives. By doing this, a demon or a demonic influence are meant to prepare a person or to help groom them and teach the person how to serve either a single or several malevolent entities as a serf on the earthly plane. New insight. Now armed with this new insight, it creates an opportunity under the right set of conditions that makes the likelihood of a dark prophetic dream more probable to present itself than a traditional prophetic dream. The chance can also be exacerbated if an individual is in a dangerous frame of mind. That frame of mind can be illustrated by feelings of being lonely, isolated, depressed, and angry that may or may not also be combating against an addiction issue. This type of person would be working off of the subconscious mind, the emotional and the instinctual reactions, instead of the conscious mind's intellectual and logical state of mind. This set of conditions creates the exception to the rule and gives an opportunity to present itself naturally or organically. In addition, if a person has never experienced or has never heard of a prophetic dream before, this kind of person would not be able to recognize the signs of what this kind of dream is. They would just assume they're having a very vivid dream or a very vivid and realistic dream, but yet a terrifying nightmare. When this happens, the malevolent entity does not have an individual's best interest in mind, but instead has their own. This unique set of circumstances can give the ethereal outsider a better chance of inserting their will into the land of the living with greater ease. If a person is receiving these dark prophetic dreams, especially if they're not directly connected to the occult, it can only be for a handful of reasons. This is starting to slip into the practice of demonology, so I'm only mentioning this just to give a little bit of perspective. First, the entity could be using prophetic dreams to weaken a person's mental state so they can feed off of their mental anguish and energy. Second, the entity could be trying to insert their will on the mortal plane of existence in some way. Third, the entity could be weakening a person's natural defense to prepare them for possession. There are, of course, other possibilities, but these are the most common of all. Either way, the deal or pact will only be reached if the individual can be useful to the entity in some way. Keep in mind, this deal is either an equivalent exchange or equal to or greater than in the outsider's favor. Meaning, you can't offer flowers and prayers if you're trying to save someone's life. I don't want to go into too much detail on this or go too far down this road of explaining anything more than I already have about demonology, as this information was only incidental and I only mentioned it as I needed to give perspective to help conceptualize how and why a person may receive a dark prophetic dream in the first place. And we are done. Now, the next portion is the last portion in the series, which is on the Dream Journal, which is also a little bit of a redo as I have to update the old videos. So this next part is actually meant for two separate series. One I previously did on different journals and this one on dreams. I just wanted to mention that. So as always, I wish you all the very best of luck with your research and go in peace.